By request, that time has come. We're going to talk about my Benchmade 940 that I've been carrying now for the entire year, as I promised 1 year ago that I would try and carry one knife for 1 year. And I would say that I fulfilled that for about 98% of the time. So that's not too bad when you get right down to it. So the Benchmade 940 that I'm talking about is this beauty. You've seen it in a lot of videos. For those of you who are new here and maybe don't know the backstory behind the 940, what makes this one so special? Well, these came out in 2000. My daughter bought it for me back then. Well, what can you really buy when you're 4 years old? But it's one of those situations where I buy it, hand it to her, and I say, "You want to give that to Daddy as a present?" "Yes." Hands it back, and suddenly it's from her. Well, that instantly imparted some sentimental value to it, and I decided that I would carry it sparingly. Well, I did that for 25 years. Kind of regret that, or maybe I don't regret it. I don't know. Had I carried it for 25 years, I may have already lost it. But over the course of the, 24 years, I have made some modifications to it as Benchmade, changed some things and improved some things, and I wanted to take advantage of those improvements. The most important improvement is this blade steel. It started off as 154 cm, then S30V, and now S90V. I've had the MagnaCut version with the copper handle. Great knife. I'm a big fan of MagnaCut, but when I was doing side-by-side comparisons between the MagnaCut on the Benchmade 940 and this particular piece of S90V, there was no comparison. It wasn't even close. No offense, Mr. Laren Thomas. Your MagnaCut is a spectacular steel. I have it in a lot of different knives, and I really enjoy it. I don't know that I can say this across all of the MagnaCut knives that Benchmade makes, but the MagnaCut that came in my 940 performed well, but I don't think at its full potential. This S90V is performing past its potential, in my opinion. I generally don't like to compare heat treats across two different knife manufacturers, but I'm going to in this case. I have a Spyderco paramilitary 2 that I have put together from a bunch of different knives, including an S90V blade, which I thought was a fantastic blade. This piece of S90V seems to be holding an edge better than the Spyderco. For whatever reason, maybe I got lucky, maybe Benchmade was having a really good day, or maybe they just know how to really heat treat S90V. I don't know the particulars. But this knife has only had to be lightly stropped on a very worn out piece of 400 grit sandpaper, and then a sharpening steel every now and then. I can still see the factory grind marks for this edge. That is how little I have had to monkey with this edge. I have used this for a lot of projects. Of course, a lot of mail opening, but also a lot of garlic chopping, and the doorway to the front door of my office that leads outside. This is a very old building, and that doorway hadn't been used for maybe 30 years. So there had been some swelling and movement of stuff. I don't know, but the door stuck. And I used a couple different knives to work on it and fix the door jamb and actually shave the door jamb down, this performed the best. The second was my SE3, but this performed the best and was comfortable to use and didn't suffer any blade damage until I hit a nail, an errant nail, a nail that really even shouldn't have been there. However, what would normally have been a catastrophic ding in, let's say, 154 cm or even S30V, it just put a slight roll, which is good. I'd rather it roll than chip, on that tiny little spot of the edge, which straightened right up when I hit it with the sharpening steel. If you don't have a sharpening steel and learn how to use a sharpening steel, you are over sharpening your knives on abrasive materials. A sharpening steel will line that edge back up and take off a negligible amount of steel whenever you use it. A new steel will take off more, and old steel will take off less. My steel is 45 years old, still puts an edge on a knife that already had a good edge and just needs a little touch up. If you don't do anything catastrophic to your knife, you may never have to ever sharpen it again. Just constantly hit it with a sharpening steel. You don't believe me? You need to watch an experienced chef or butcher and see what they do all day. They don't resharpen their knives. They a few passes on a steel and they're good to go. I have found that to be true for 50-something years because I've been sharpening knives since about age 11. No, I was younger. Where was that? Okay, 9. I've sharpened a few knives. I've learned a thing or two. The knives that bounce back the best for me with a sharpening steel, I know I've gotten off track. I apologize. It's my channel. I'll do whatever I want. You can skim past this. Whatever. My Park River UP Gunny in A2 steel never has to be sharpened. Why? Sharpening steel. Just something about that A2. Same with this. Now, cut a lot of cardboard, peeled insulation off of wiring, cut some wiring, copper wire. Just done so much with this. And it's starting to show, finally, a little bit of wear and tear. I mean, I am surprised at just how much of the black coating is still there. That's the black tie coating, I believe is what they used to call it. And my green handle is only showing polish marks on the edges. Now, for those of you with a keen eye, you may see a couple of extra things on this knife. And again, that's for those of you who are new here. This is an old school pocket clip. I happen to like how far this goes down as opposed to the new pocket clips are shorter and have a curve at the end. And it's almost a sharp spot, whereas this goes flat. And then, of course, those screws, extra screws from another knife, a non-Benchmade, but had the same thread pattern. All I had to do was shorten the screws so that they didn't protrude inside the knife. What do those screws do? They aid in the removal of the knife from your pocket. Not that it's a really tough knife to get out of your pocket, but I find that when you're in a hurry, or maybe your hands are cold, or for whatever reason, maybe you're wearing corduroys. I don't see a lot of you wearing corduroys, but maybe you are. That's a thick material. This will be in there pretty good. So you've got that in there. You reach in, and your thumb has a hold of those screws. That comes out beautifully. There you go. So that's why I always have extra screws on the what they call show side of my pocket clip knives. Just the regular screws, if you have some of those extra, put them on that side, and even those screws help. These screws have a more squared shape to them, so they give us what we like to call in the old country a good purchase for your thumb. That is that. Hey Tom, what was the other knife you carried when you weren't carrying the Benchmade 940? Great question. I will show you. Don't give me any crap about this. Chris Reeve, large Sebenza, drop point, shiny thumb stud, glass blasted. This is a good piece of Magna Cut, but we're not talking about that knife, so why am I talking about it? I don't know. I'm a schizophrenic, and so am I. Okay, just between you and me, if you don't have a Benchmade 940 and you really want a Benchmade 940, what is your hang up about not getting a Benchmade 940 in any configuration? I mean, it really is their best knife. It's 2026. They've been making this knife for 26 years. Basically unchanged, except for, like I said, the knife steels, which is a good thing as better steels come along. But they've kept the green in the original configuration, which I think is spectacular, phenomenal, wonderful, wunderbar. I do know that they are starting to get a little on the pricey side. I guess that happens with everything. What are you going to do? You can't. I guess price can be an issue. I am not endorsing this. I am not. Let's just say every now and then a knife company sends me a knife and say, would you kindly, ooh, I just saw something. And you'll wonder where I get extra screws. Stick with me for a second. So they send me a knife and they all get the same answer from me. If they've asked me ahead of time, I say, it's on you. You want to take that chance and see if I like your knife or don't like your knife, because I'm going to say something either way. I'm not endorsing it. I don't get paid for these or anything. But because we're talking about the 940, which can be kind of a pricey knife, maybe you're looking for an alternative. I'm not saying this is a perfect alternative. It has some similar features. But again, it's a horse of a different color. It is made by Lothar. It is called the Spider Pocket Knife. Yes, before you even ask, it is made in China. Came in a nice little pouch a la Benchmade, and then this thing, a zippered pouch with their logo on it. And finally, here's the knife. It is a button lock. Now, look at that. I'll be darned. That was pretty dang smooth. For reference, there's your size difference. You get a little bit more of everything with the Benchmade. About the same blade thickness, different blade shape, obviously. This has 14C28N steel. I guess with a good heat treat, that'll be good. Factory edge is, I would say, about an 8 out of 10. but it does have that push button. Notice that's poking up a little bit. And it feels like it's riding on bearings, which is very common these days. And it has a Benchmade-esque kind of thumb stud. So look them up. See if it's something you want to get. I thank them for sending me this. You'll notice there's some extra screws there. Look familiar? You know, I don't know. Just throwing that out there. Thank you very much to them for sending me that. I will, of course, be carrying this. That is that. Thank you very much for watching. I do appreciate it. And I do appreciate you guys asking about the 1-year anniversary video for this. Not a whole hell of a lot to share. Just, I'm still carrying it, using it, loving it. And we're going to go another year. That's that. Thanks. See you later.